Hello and welcome or welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. My name is Danielle and today we are going to be going over the final results of my One Book July challenge and also kind of a July flip through in my A5 common planner here. So for the month of July, I decided to participate in the One Book July challenge. This is the first time I've ever really done it seriously, I guess. Also the first time I've ever made a video series about it. And I have to say I've done okay. I've succeeded in the fact that I did everything in primarily one book, but at the same time, I have some final thoughts on this, on how I think my system may be changing. So if you're new to this channel, I use a lot of different planners. I have like 5 or 6 books that I usually work with on the daily, and I wanted to incorporate all of those books into one as best I can. So I have a health planner, a garden journal, a gratitude journal, an astrology journal, and then this main book that I pretty much reference on the daily. I decided to combine the gratitude journal, which is this Magic of I here, the garden journal, which is another common planner, and then the health planner, which is another common planner, into this book as best I can. There were some exceptions, so if you're interested in any of the, I guess, initial setup of this kind of thing, definitely check out some of my previous videos. But the main thing being, I was able to really complete everything in this book. So for the month of July, I kept updating my year at a glance page here with my date nights and my menstruation tracking and everything. And then for the quarterly pages, this is how my system ended up turning out. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see this a little bit closer. So for the monthly section over here, I've kept up with how I want to use this. I've used this the same way last quarter. So I have a this month section, which is like an intentions from a month. And then at the end of the month, I go back in and review. I realize we are in August. I still need to go back in and write a little entry here to just review what happened. And then I also still need to fill out my stats. But that's the other thing I really like to track here is the number of pages I've read, workouts, miles ran, and how many times I ate out in the month. I really do like this layout, and I think in future months I will continue this. I even set it up for the rest of this quarter, and for the rest of 2024 I will probably continue this type of layout because it really does just make sense for my brain. For the other side of this page, the Calendex or perpetual calendar, or oh gosh, I don't even know what other word to call this, but the habit tracking section, if you will. I ended up splitting this to do my temperature tracking on one side and like a mini version of my habit tracking on the other side. And this was okay. I think I like this the best out of all 3 ways I have tried to use the quarterly section so far. Last quarter, I did something similar with a habit tracking and then important dates. And then the first quarter of the year, I did how am I spending my time with a bunch of colors denoting like when I'm exercising, when I'm doing work, when I'm sleeping, whatever. Really did not like this. This was like kind of okay, but I felt like it needed more. And so far, I like this the best. I don't know how I feel about continuing this in August yet. As you can see, I haven't really set up anything for August. I'm still on the fence on what I want to do here. Part of me wants to just complete the rest of the page like this so it looks uniform, but part of me also wants to try something new. So I will touch back on base when it comes to what I decide for August. But at the end of this month, I went ahead and continued on my top memories. This is something I really have been enjoying putting down at the bottom of my quarterly sections or the Calendex pages or whatever you want to call these, just because it's a snapshot of the month. I will say that July has been a bit of a month for me. I'm going to be honest, it's not been great. So doing this challenge and then also doing my 30 Inks 30 Days challenge was kind of a nice distraction of what was happening in my actual life. And I'll get into that a little bit more when we get to the daily pages. Moving on into the monthly section in this book, I decided to change it up again. So for the One Book July challenge, I wanted to include my gratitude in this space to just kind of eliminate that one book, and then also keep up with a brief synopsis of the day, just because I find it really easy to look back on in this kind of layout what I did for a whole month, and there's like a little snapshot of each day. One thing is I don't like this. I think this looks really, really busy. It's hard for me to kind of differentiate just at a glance. I would prefer to just go back to the way I had it before, where it was just one entry versus like two things I'm smushing into one box. I just think it looks a little too busy. And then the other thing that I wanted to implement for One Book July here was my sleep, mood, and stress tracker at the bottom. And I have to say, I hate this, and I think I talked about this in one of my updates. I really did not like this here. I felt like it was just kind of useless for me. It doesn't really help me see any kind of trend. Where I have this in my health planner, it helps me see the different trends. So I know I've talked about this in those other videos, but I'm just going to show it again for anybody new. But this is how I set it up in my health planner. So I have like my sleep, mood, and stress on one page, and then my habit tracking on the other page, and they're all together. So I can just easily reference, you know, multiple graphs at once if I need to. It just works really well for me to be in this layout. And I think this was just a good test, but I don't ever want to do it again. And then the other thing that I implemented from my health journal over here was my weight by week. This is fine. I'd be fine to keep this in my monthly. So it was okay. I still think monthlies are a place that I struggle. And while I'm glad that I finished this challenge to completion, I think I still want to play around some more with how I want to do my monthlies, just to tweak it to where I can finally get to a happy place with it. Okay, now let's talk about weeklies. So weeklies in this book have been a little hit or miss lately. So the first week of July, first off, I loved that it started on a Monday, like Monday being a first of a month, first of a week. It was just kind of like a vibe. Also like first of the second half of the year kind of thing. It was really nice. Sorry, I had to take a sip of tea. But I've been kind of doing this dashboard style layout, which was inspired by a video by 𝗪𝗪 and I have really liked this, but I will say towards the end of the month, I was kind of getting over the dashboard. I was missing my hourly layout kind of style, which I noticed happened earlier this year too, when I made this transition. But this first week was Independence Day for the US, so we celebrated the Independence Day by just watching some fireworks, and then the rest of this is kind of, I mean, it's like the same every week, and I think that's why I was growing tired with it. So I have my workouts here, my meal tracking here, cleaning list, and then at the bottom here I just have another set of like habit tracking and fasting tracking and currently reading, and then a little mental health / rate my week section. And I think this worked great for trying to fit all the different categories of my life into one book, into 2 pages. But like what's happened to me before, I think I just got overwhelmed with not being able to separate it out in my mind. Like my mind works very well with things in different buckets, different categories, and I think doing this was not the best. I don't know, because I like this layout, but I think I just grew tired of the monotony of it, and then also like smushing everything together versus having it differentiated out how my brain likes it. Anyways, I did it for all of the weeks of July except for the last week or last 3 days. The current week, like I think this video is going to go up on Sunday, so it would be this week, like earlier this week was the end of July. But I continued the dashboard layout for majority of July, and then at the end I went back to doing my little hourly layout, and I think I like this much better. Also, I ended up drawing on my weeklies instead of using bigger stickers like the London Gifties tapes that I really like, and this was really fun. So I think I'm going to start doing this a bit more of actually doodling in my planner versus just using big stickers. Probably do a mix of both because I do love both for sure. Okay, let's talk about some dailies. So as I mentioned, in July, I did the 30 inks, 30 days challenge. And this was a really good distraction for me. again, I'll get to that in a second with the other daily pages back here. So I ended up making an entire list of all the different pens and inks that I used. So I'll zoom in for you. So I just really liked seeing all of the pens and ink combinations like this and having them all together. It's kind of fun as like a little reference guide for me. I also did this in my ink journal just so I could have a fun little place for that too, but I'm glad I put it in my main journal as well because it's just a nice way, again, to do a one book July and then also have a permanent record of it in the book that I'm probably going to be archiving. The other thing that I really did to kind of reduce my book usage in July, again, continuing the one book July challenge, was I ended up putting my currently inked swatches in this book. So since it was a 30-day challenge, I had a different ink every single day, and it made sense for me to swatch it in this book where I was going to be writing with that pen as well. So I typically have a little A6 art and ink journal, which I don't know where I left it. Otherwise I would show you, but I usually do my swatches in that book and decided to do it in this book instead to, again, try to work on that one book challenge. I will say I liked having them in the beginning of the month to do these little swatches like this because it's fun to see, but at the same time it was kind of a pain because I had to wait for the page to dry, and I usually like to set up a lot of my week in advance just to make it easier for me to journal, and having them all together was just not, I don't know, towards the end of the month I was kind of over it. But yeah, the 1st of July, not a lot happened. I think I put down that I was still reading the Throne of Glass series, and it was really feeling like a Monday, which was accurate for sure. And then Tuesday, I got some new running shoes. So my main event, I guess, this month was I had a 10K race that I was going to participate in, and I was having really bad leg pain again, and I didn't want to injure myself before the race, but I also didn't want to take too much rest that I wouldn't be able to perform in the race. So I ended up getting a new pair of running shoes with some new supports, and that helped so much. And literally the next day when I ran with them, I hit a new PR time on my pace, and I was really, really happy with that. So the beginning of the month started out really great. It was really hot. Things were, just blistering outside apparently, and I was just doing okay. The new moon was on Friday, July 5th. I wrote down some things that I'm not really willing to share on camera. And then on the next day, I think I was just having a really hard time because I finished the Throne of Glass series. And if you've read that series by Sarah J. Maas, the Kingdom of Ash book is the last book. And I won't do any spoilers, but I was emotionally damaged. I had to just take some moments after reading that book, and I still haven't really recovered, and it's been weeks. I haven't picked up any other books. I don't really know how I feel right now. I want to start something new, but at the same time I don't. Yeah, and then the next day I still wasn't feeling the best. Okay, so Monday the 8th was the day that really everything started to kind of go downhill for me in July. So we had Hurricane Beryl hit the Texas coast. I am close to Dallas, Texas, so I don't really get the brunt. We didn't get the brunt of the hurricane, but we did get some rain. But the problem that we had was one of our cats, one of my cats, she's been my cat since I was in college. She's been with me for over 8 years, and she disappeared. So I don't know, we don't know exactly what happened to her. She just never came back. She still hasn't come back. And then a few days later, we reviewed some of our trail camera footage, and we saw that we had coyotes on the property. So we think she was probably taken by coyotes. And to say that I'm devastated is an understatement. It's like, losing a kid in a way. And I don't want to get too emotional on camera, but I miss her, and I hope she's okay. And if not, I hope it was quick if she was taken and eaten and whatever. Anyway, so that was kind of like the downfall beginning of July. So I had a lot of days that I just didn't want to do anything. And then Friday that same week, my boyfriend decided we're going to make homemade burgers. And I think that was kind of the beginning of things are going to look a little bit better. So we ended up making homemade burgers on the grill, and it was really, really good. And we played a little bit of Stardew Valley together. We have a co-op farm, and it was really fun. It was a nice little date night that was just, I don't know, healing in a way, I guess. But yeah, then I got a new pen. So I made a whole video about this. My Leonardo Memento Zero Grande, or not Grande, Memento Zero and the Golden Abalone, which is an Atlas Stationers exclusive. I adore this pen. It is so gorgeous. I did do a whole unboxing on this, and if you want to go check it out, I'll try to link it, but it is just such a beautiful resin. I love this resin so, so, so much. But I ended up using one of the new sticker sheets from my shop. This is the large fountain pen doodles, and I drew my own fountain pen. So I ended up just kind of making the swirls inside the pen using a brown fine liner, and then I wrote with the pen itself here. I ended up inking it up with Diamine's Golden Brown, and I felt like it was a really good match. I'm really, really happy with it, and I did end up fixing the tine issues I had. If you watched my unboxing video, it works perfectly fine now. I just had to take some brass sheets to it, and it worked really great. Anyways, for the next day, I ended up making these smoothies after our leg day at the gym, and it was so good, and I was really, really happy with it. So it's a peach pineapple smoothie. It had like 1 cup of Greek yogurt, frozen peaches, frozen pineapple, some frozen strawberries, and then we ended up using almond milk instead of whole milk, and it was so, so, so good, so refreshing, especially because it's been so hot here in Texas. Yeah, so I think I was just really feeling emotional on these 2 days, either from, you know, losing my cat or my menstrual cycle starting, probably a combination of both, and then it just got worse. So I've talked a little bit about my grandma on this channel, not a lot. I mean, I've talked about how she's been declining, and officially she has passed. We are actually going to her funeral the weekend that this video is going up. So, yeah, my grandmother passed away after my cat is probably dead, and I was just really having a hard time. And while all of this was going on, I was still trying to do my new release prep and then also prep for my race. So here we go. This was like my major attempt at we need to feel better. So July 19th, I released some new stickers to my Dandelion Diaries. I did a whole video on what I released. It was lots of reading kits, fountain pen stickers, things like that. And then on race day, I ended up saving my little bib that they gave us. I was number 1245. It's not a special number. I just was like, ooh, I'm going to save it because why not? And then I ended up taking some photos. So here's me on race day, and here's the medal I got when I finished. And I will say, this was like the uplift that I really needed this month. I did so well in my race. I am so, so, so proud of myself. I ended up doing a 13-minute, 48-second pace, which was a record for me for 6 miles. 10K was, it's like 6.2 something miles, but I was really, really happy with myself. And the trail that we got to run on was absolutely beautiful. It was next to a lake. The weather was wonderful. Everybody there was like super pumped. It was a really great experience, and I was very, very happy with myself and very proud of myself. And I'm still proud of myself. And I definitely want to do another race, probably, I don't know, in the fall or the winter now, just to see how much I improve by then. So I'm really proud of myself, and this was the uplift I needed after having a really crappy couple of weeks in July. Yeah, but the downside of that run was it took all of my energy. I think the emotional turmoil of, you know, losing my cat and losing my grandma, and then the physical turmoil of running 6 miles in the heat, if I'm being honest, I think my body was just like, girl, you need to stop. And so I had very lazy days like the following 2 days. So this day, I don't think I even moved off the couch or the bed on Sunday. I was just so tired, and I just stayed there, and it was great. And then Monday, I had good intentions of actually filling this page out. But I think I was still feeling really exhausted, so I just kept it to the minimum. These pansy stickers are from London Gifties. I think she still has these available on her shop too. They are so vibrant and beautiful. I'm obsessed. Anyways, moving on. Tuesday, July 23rd, I was still feeling really tired, so I didn't really set up any to-do lists this week, I think, but I started How to Get Away with Murder, or I was in the middle of How to Get Away with Murder. I don't remember, but I've been obsessed with that show ever since I picked it up, and it's gripping me. Like, murder and drama, and Viola Davis, the main actress, is so very talented. Anyways, for Wednesday, I decided to try a little bit of meal planning. I made it one row, and then I think I got busy doing something and I never revisited this, so I just left it blank, which is fine. I've been trying to do more meal planning for me and my boyfriend, so we have a better budget when we go to the grocery store. And I ended up printing out like a calendar that you can just print from, I think, Excel or Google. I don't remember. It's blank, and I printed it out and I just wrote down the meals we're gonna do, and I put it on the fridge, and it works fantastic so far. Thursday, we ended up going to this new gyro place that was by, is it gyro or gyro? Please help me. I think it's gyro, but I also think it's gyro. I don't know. But we ended up going to this new place by our house, and I was really, really happy with the service, number one, and then the food was absolutely fantastic. And I'm really glad that we finally have a good Mediterranean spot by us, because before we would have to drive like 45 minutes to go anywhere with good Mediterranean food. Friday, I ended up going to Costco. Yeah, so Costco, we replenished our fruits and veggies, and then we ended up doing a really deep clean of the house. My boyfriend and I decided, you know what, we have all of this horrible energy in here right now. We just did a deep clean of several of the rooms, and it was really therapeutic in a way. I don't know, so, sometimes, you know, when you're cleaning, or like when you're feeling really stagnant and then you just clean everything and you just immediately feel better. I think that's what was happening on Friday. Then on Saturday, we had a really fun date night. So we ended up watching the UFC fights, and we were really rooting for Belal Muhammad, which was the final fight. He was paired against Leon Rocky Edwards. I'd never watched a UFC fight before, so I wasn't really sure what was happening, other than, you know, like one guy's supposed to beat the other guy, but I don't know like the technical, I guess, terms of like what produces a win. But we really wanted Belal to win, and he did. He won against Leon Edwards, and it was just a really good fight, and I was impressed with everything we watched. It was really fun. And then on Sunday, I had a lot of journaling thoughts, apparently. This was the day that Plans by Just Scribble, I think, came out on YouTube. So I don't know, she didn't release them yet, but she made the YouTube videos, and I'm very intrigued by her planners, but I don't know how I feel about the bundled planner. Like, I don't know how I feel about like all of my weeks, months, and days together, because I'm so used to having them separated out. So I think I just journaled a lot about that. But this ink is the 𝗿𝗏𝗄𝗄𝗏 The Phantom of the Opera, and it is absolutely stunning. Such a gorgeous ink. 29th, Monday. Oh, this was the day I made salmon for the first time. I had never made salmon before. I ended up pan cooking it, sauteed salmon. I don't know how to say that, but I cooked it in a pan, and it turned out really good, and I was really happy with it. I don't know if I took a picture. I think I took a picture and sent it to my mom. Maybe I'll print that out and put it in here later. And then July 30th, this was the last day of my 30 Inks 30 Days Challenge. And I have to say that I think I was really feeling the design aspect on this day, because I did a lot of designing on my iPad. I know I did that on this day. But this ink, I was really happy with the color, but the shimmer just was not coming through with the pen I used. So, I don't know. And then for the last day of July, which is today that I'm filming, the 𝗦𝘃𝗫 previews are coming out tonight at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm very, very, very excited. And I ended up using my new fountain pen to write all of this, and I am obsessed. So this is the new fountain pen that I got. I have filmed a video of this. By the time this video goes out, the original video of this will have gone up. But this is the Opus 88 Mini in the Illusions. It's an Endless Pens exclusive. But yeah, I'm obsessed and definitely considering getting another one already. Anyways, I also made a little entry about my family since I'm going to be speaking at the church at my grandma's funeral this weekend. I have a lot of, I guess, anxiety and fear because it's, you know, standing up in front of a bunch of people and talking, but I'll be okay, right? It's just my family I'm talking to. I don't need to be stressed. I'm trying to tell myself that. Also, I have a nail appointment later today to get my nails done. And it's going to be the first time I have gotten my nails done in, I don't know, a year. I don't even remember the last time I had my nails done. So it's going to be an interesting experience, and I'm tempted to continue to get them done just because I did used to get them done all the time. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that yet. Anyways, let's talk about the One Book July challenge. So final thoughts on this challenge. I feel like it worked for me forcing myself how to do it. However, I feel like I miss my other books. So the way my brain works with everything kind of compartmentalized with, you know, health and garden and gratitude and astrology and art and ink and all that kind of stuff, I feel like I would prefer to have it separated out because it works better for my brain. However, this brings me to the 𝗦𝘃𝗫 thing. I think that the dated pages in the 𝗦𝘃𝗫, so having pages that are already kind of set up for me, would have helped me a lot more in this challenge than having these blank pages. Because I felt like with the blank pages, I don't know, I felt like I forced myself to put things down that I wasn't really needing to put down, like the ink swatches, for example. Like I didn't need to put them in this book. I wanted to put them in the other book. So I don't know. I think the One Book Challenge works really well if you have one book that you're really dedicated to and you don't really have a whole lot that you keep track of, or maybe you're really good at systematically keeping track of more things in one space. But for me personally, I think the multi-book system is still going to be what I go with because I work better having everything kind of categorized out, and I like having the different spaces to not only, like, I guess, decorate or be artistic in, but also have it laid out the way I want that makes sense in my brain. Like the health planner trackers that I was talking about, like having those together makes me really happy. Having them spread out would be kind of a challenge. And then for the garden, I think I could probably do without a garden planner and just kind of implement them in here into like the weekly section, like I did here with like a home and garden task list. I think I could do this and get rid of the book itself for my garden, but having that separate book is easy because I can take that book physically into my garden space, into my seed room and everything, and like get everything done there without having to take this bigger book. Which also gets me to think about the 𝗦𝘃𝗫. So with the 𝗦𝘃𝗫 cousin, I like to have that book as like an archiving book because it keeps track of all of my stuff. Like I can put everything into one book that I wanted there, and I know it's going to hold up over time. I'm not saying the Sterling ink is going to not hold up. This book has actually been holding up very well. I just think I miss 𝗦𝘃𝗫 and I miss the structure of it, where I feel like the Common Planner is just very much a blank slate. Like you can do anything with this, which is great. It is. But I feel like I want something more structured when I'm doing a planning type thing. Journaling, I think, is really great when you have blank pages because then you can just free do whatever you want. But for planning, I think I'd prefer to have the setup. Also, I do want to say that the fluff factor on this book has gotten very, very fluffy. I'm only, 7 months in now, and you can see the pages that I haven't used yet in the back here and how everything else is both like bluffing out. I don't know how big this book is gonna get. It's already really heavy, so I'm tempted to try for a month to not use any stickers or washi. Maybe that'll be like the next planner challenge I give myself. But I don't know yet, because I really love those things and they make me happy. So we shall see. But the chunk factor is definitely getting nice and fluffy for sure. Anyways, I think I'm going to leave the video off here. If you did the One Book July challenge, how did it end up for you? Did you do okay with it? Did you give up and go back onto your system? Like what happened? I would love to chat about it down in the comments. Also, if you are looking forward to the 𝗬𝗍𝗁 release like I am, do you have any plans on getting anything? I realize that there are so many new books out there on the market that it's just, the options are endless. So if you're going to go with 𝗬𝗍𝗁, what you going to get? And if you're not going to go with 𝗬𝗍𝗁, what you going to get? Are you going to try anything new this year? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about my system yet, but I'd love to see what you guys are doing if you have anything locked in. Anyways, again, thank you so much for watching, for joining me here today. I hope August is going to be a better month than July. Good Lord. But yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you also in the next one.